Alright guys, in this video we're going to be walking through another packet tracer lab. What we need to do is get to the material we'll be using for the lab. So we are going to access your Cybersecurity Essentials material in the Network Academy. This is a Chapter 4 lab. Once you get into your reading materials, you hit this course index button at the bottom and then hit this packet tracer index right there and scroll down to 4.3.3.4 packet tracer dash configuring VPN tunnel mode. That is the lab we are doing for this video. So again, get into your Cybersecurity Essentials material, go to the reading material, pick one of the chapters. All of the chapters have this page that you're looking at right now. Then go to course index, packet tracer index, and find this lab right here, 4334. Okay, once we get in here, there's going to be two things that need to be downloaded and two things that need to be turned in to get credit for this lab. The first one is the PDF file. It's got some questions on there that you're going to need to type in the answers to, save the file with your answers, and turn it in. And then we have the PKA file, which is the file which has all of our packet tracer lab info in it and the materials we need. So once you have both those downloaded, here's the PDF. We'll give a quick scroll through it here. There's a one question, two questions. Scroll through it a little slower here. Looks like there's only two questions for us to knock out. Cool. So I want to navigate to where you downloaded that PKA file. Give it a quick double tap to open it up. Let Packet Tracer program do its thing and load the module for us. And in classic Packet Tracer style, it's taking its time. Here we go. We got our little splash screen opening window to let us know it's doing something, and here we go. Almost. Okay, finally loaded. First thing you want to do with this Packet Tracer lab and all Packet Tracer labs is find the user profile window and put in your name. My name is Chris Kincaid, so that is what I'll enter. Very bad habit of not capitalizing my last name. Type it in. There we go. Click this little dock button here to put your lab instructions into the module with the map here, so you don't lose your instructions while you're going along. And let's get into this. In the background here, in this activity, you will observe the transfer of unencrypted FTP traffic between two geographical sites. You will then configure a VPN tunnel between two geographical sites and send encrypted FTP traffic. The IP addressing, network configuration, the service configurations are already complete, and these labs are notorious for that sentence right there not being correct. But that's all right, because they're usually very close to being all set up, and there's just a little thing that we have to do off on the side. No big deal. You will use the client devices in the differing geographic regions to transfer FTP data securely and insecurely. So getting right into part one here, sending unencrypted FTP traffic. Step one, access the cyber criminal sniffer. I like just to call that the cyber sniffer. So if you hear me refer to cyber sniffer, this is what I'm talking about, the cyber criminals sniffer. Going to that, we're going to go to the graphic user interface, the GUI tab, and we're going to hit the clear button. There's actually nothing there to clear. It's already clear, but we're going to go ahead and hit it clear anyway, because that's what the instructions say to do. Then we're going to minimize that window because we're going to come back to it later. All done with step one. Nice and easy on that first thing that we did. I'm connecting to the FTP backup server using an insecure FTP connection. So step 2, part A, we're going to go to Metropolis Bank headquarters and get into Phil's computer. So Metropolis headquarters is right here. Ooh, look at that. We got some red highlighting going on over there. Going to Phil's computer. Where's Phil at? It's not in the office. Wouldn't that be hilarious if somebody was in the bathroom there or hiding out in the storage closet? Phil's in a presentation room, so here we go. Gonna click this little check box on the top option down there to keep Phil's machine up in front of us so we don't lose it while we're clicking around. We're going to go to the desktop. We're going to go to the command prompt, and we're going to type in ipconfig. And you see here, this is one of those things that I was just talking about how it says everything's set up and configured. If you have been doing any of these labs prior to this one with me, you'll notice that this happens a lot. Phil's computer doesn't actually have an IP address, so we need to set him up one by typing in this ipconfig command with a /renew. And now he's got an IP address. Let's go ahead and clear the terminal. Okay. Okay, I guess clear command doesn't work for this terminal, which I'm pretty sure it has before in past labs, but whatever. So we're just gonna have to deal with all of these things in front of us here. We do have a IP address now. Let's run ipconfig one more time here. Just straight ipconfig. So now you can see we're looking at the IP configuration for this computer. We have a gigabit Ethernet connection going on here, and all the info that has to do with it. This computer is also equipped with a Bluetooth network card, and at the current moment it has no IP address. It looks like it's not connected to anything. So that's what we're seeing in the IP configuration. And let's move on through here. Step 2, part D, connect to the file backup server at Gotham Healthcare branch by entering in this right here. So the FTP command followed by the IP address for the file backup server. We hit the enter button. Okay, and username and password both are Cisco in lowercase. So we type in Cisco. Whoops. Type in Cisco again. Okay, looking good. I had misspelled the password the first time and just hit backspace a bunch of times. I was afraid I wasn't going to get in there. But we're looking good. So moving on to step 3 here, view the traffic on the cyber criminals sniffer. So we didn't even upload or download any files. We didn't do anything with the FTP server. All we did was log in. Let's see what the cyber sniffer got a hold of there. Move this to the side so we can actually see it. We see 2 FTP packets. If you scroll down to the bottom of those, you see that right there we got the command user, short for username, and the argument that was sent to that command was Cisco. And in the next packet sent, we have a command of pass, short for password, and the argument is Cisco again. So our cyber sniffer has detected and captured the packets and is actually able to see both the username and the password. So that's actually the answer here. Let's move over to this real fast and actually type it in. I'll tell you what, Phil, computer, you're getting in my way. I'm going to close you. So what was in clear text? Username, Cisco, and password, Cisco. You can type that in however you want. Just make sure that you get both those in there. The username and password is what showed up in plain text. Okay, moving back to our lab material. Part 2, configuring the VPN tunnel between Metropolis and Gotham. Within the Metropolis Bank headquarters, which we are already at the Metropolis headquarters here, click on the HQ router. And that's this right over here, right on the edge. I got an email for everybody to see here in the video. Okay, so we're looking at the HQ router. Copy the IPsec VPN site-to-site configuration below and paste it into the HQ router. So this part of the lab is missing, in my opinion, it's missing a sentence or two here, because you pull up the HQ router and you're just looking at the, as far as the lab and how Packet Tracer works, you're just looking at the back of the router, which is supposed to simulate actually being there and looking at the router. So this is actually referring to, you go to the router, you plug in a computer or a remote into it. Maybe there's already a system set up there that has an interface, has a terminal, so you can type and get into the router. That is what it's referring to. And to simulate that, we actually have to click this CLI button right here. And see all these iOS command line interface. This is actually a Cisco iOS command line interface that we're looking at. So let's get in here and let's just type enter a few times. Okay, now you want to type enter a few times because you want to be able to see this command line right here. If you just go and copy stuff into that, you can't copy stuff into that. That's not how it works. Should get an error message for that. So let's do this. Can I clear this? No, you can't clear this. Can I clear this like that? Nope, can't clear it like that either. So I'm just going to hit enter a whole bunch of times so you can see a blank page. Okay, you can do the same. Whatever you do, just make sure that you're at a point where you have this blank command line here. Once you have that blank command line, get back over to your instructions. I'm going to click this top button though, so I don't lose my router machine when I go back over here. So you see this part 2, step B. It's got the main sentence with the regular text like everything else. Then it's got this terminal looking type font that's being used for this text. You want to select everything that's in this, we'll call it a skinnier font, skinnier letters. You want to copy every single thing here. Make sure it's all highlighted from this very top enabled word, the letter E at the very beginning, the word enable. Make sure that's all selected, highlight every single thing, all the way down to the copy run start, all the way down to that T at the last T in the word start there. Make sure every single thing there is selected. Do a right click with your mouse or your touchpad, however you're doing it. Get yourself a right click and choose copy. Then go over here, make sure that you're seeing, I'm starting to point with my finger, but that's not going to show up on the video. So with my mouse here, see where it says HQ router, make sure you have that little blinking cursor right there. It lets you know that you are getting ready to type a command. So you can type commands. Now you right click and go to paste. And it pumps it all in there like that. You probably could also use this paste button here. I'm going to recommend that you don't. Just do what I just showed you. Go ahead and try to use paste if you feel like it, but if things go wrong, you're going to have to go back and do it the way I just showed you. So now we have all that stuff pasted into the command line, which is basically just a gigantic command that we have sent into it, and you just hit the enter button. It's going to say destination file name, startup configuration. You really don't have to hit anything here. Whenever you see a command like this that has something in parentheses, usually, almost always, what it's saying is it's asking you a question, and then in the parentheses it puts the default. You just hit the enter key, and if you want to accept what's in those parentheses as the default. So for what we got going on here, it's saying destination file. It's saying the file that you're getting ready to put here on the router, the name of it is going to be startup configuration. That's the default name for what we're doing here. And yes, that is correct. We don't need to put in anything else. Make sure you do not type anything at this point. Just take your finger and hit the enter key. Okay, see there it tells us it's building the configuration. Now, what I would say you guys can do if you're super interested and really want to know what all of these commands are for, and again, this is Cisco command line stuff for their iOS. You can take this whole thing and copy it and go paste it into a chat GPT or an AI of some sorts, and it will break it down for you step by step what it is. You can copy and paste that in and say, explain it to me like a 5-year-old if you really want it broke down, and it will do a great job. I'm not going to go into detail into every single line here as to what every single thing is doing, but basically what it's doing is it's setting up a configuration where your router now has the address of a specific computer. The specific computer knows that the router's there, or will know whenever they connect, and they are creating a tunnel that only they know exists, and only they are sending things back and forth. So what should happen here in theory is that anybody else out there on the network that has a sniffer shouldn't even be able to see any traffic. So let's test it out and make sure that it's working. We'll go ahead and close this router here. Going on to part 3 here, sending encrypted FTP traffic. I'm sorry, let's read this last sentence here, make sure I didn't miss anything. The required mirror configuration of the IPsec VPN has already been implemented on the router branch of the Gotham branch site. Okay, so like I said, the tunnel, both sides know where each other's at, so we're not going to do the setup for the Gotham healthcare branch. That's already been set up. That's what they're letting us know here. Hopefully everything's set up. Let's see. Oh, we're not even going to the Gotham Health branch. Okay, so we're just going to go to the Metropolis Bank HQ. All right, getting a little bit sidetracked here with our lab, getting a little bit fumbling around a little bit too much. Let's just move through this here. Within the Metropolis Bank headquarters site, click on Sally's computer. Where you at, Sally? Oh, Sally's in the red over here. Okay, and I'm going to click this little top checkbox so we don't lose Sally's computer while we're clicking around. We're going to go to her desktop. We're going to go to her command prompt. And we're going to type in ipconfig. Do we think that Sally has an IP address prior to us being here? I really don't know. Let's find out. No, she does not. So like we had to do with Phil, we're going to pause here on step 1, part C. We're going to pause, not move on to D just yet until we get her an IP address. And this is exactly like we did for Phil, the IP/renew. There we go. We now have, Sally now has an IP address. And just like we did before, we're going to type in IP config command with no arguments, with no / anything, so we can see what this computer has set up for its IP configuration. Very similar to what we've seen on Phil's computer. We got our Ethernet network card that's set up, got ourselves an IP address, subnet, default gateway, and just like Phil also had, Sally has a Bluetooth network card that has no IP address, so it's probably just sitting there on the computer, not currently being used. Let's move forward now that we have her an IP address and we've done the IP command. Step 3, part 3, step 1, part D. We're going to connect to the file backup server at Gotham Healthcare Branch. Oh, that's why it was telling us that Gotham Healthcare Branch is already set up, because that's where the file backup server is at. Part 2, the very last section there, part 2, that's why they were saying that. So anyway, here we're connecting to the file backup server by entering this FTP command. I'm just going to copy and paste it like so. Hit the enter key, and it says here in the command prompt it may take 2 to 5 attempts. So let's see how lucky we are. Not lucky on the first one. So I had to hit the enter key to get the command prompt to come back. So I'm just going to press the up button to place our last command onto the command line. Hit enter again. So this is try number 2. Bam, try number 2. We got in there. We're doing pretty good. This lab, I've done this lab before, and it took more than 5 times. I've had it take more than 5 times before. I think because I spent so much time rambling and talking about things before we got to this step, that it had the time to get itself set up. That's why it only took 2 tries for us. But anyway, if you're following along with this video, if you get here and you try it, I'm gonna say if you try it like 10 times and it's still not working, and it's been like 5 minutes or so since you set up the VPN tunnel on the router, if it's still not working, you probably didn't get the router set up correctly. So you want to go back to part 2 and walk through all those steps again. Maybe even rewind the video and see how I did it, just to make sure that yours looks exactly the same. But anyway, to get into this FTP server, server name and password are both Cisco again. So typing in Cisco. Oops, must have typed in something wrong. That's okay. We can walk through the steps again. Username Cisco. Password Cisco. Okay, there we go. So now we are in the FTP server, and this time we are going to upload a file. And to upload on an FTP server, you put the word put, not the word pit, like I just typed. Put. Do a right click and paste the file name because I had copied it a second ago. Hit the enter key, make sure that it gives us a successful message there. Transfer complete. Some number of bytes went up to it. So we're all done with Sally's computer. Now we're going to go back over to our cyber sniffer. I'm going to go ahead and close Sally's computer just so I don't got windows all over the place. Okay, back at our cyber computer, and take a look at that. What do we have that we didn't have before after Phil's computer? That's a trick question because there's nothing there. There's nothing here. It looks exactly like it did earlier. These 2 FTP packets that we're looking at, those are the ones that came from Phil's computer. Kind of wish we had used a different password and username, because you could be confused here and think that that was what we just did with Sally's computer. The packets that you're looking at here, these 2, you may have more than 2, but what you're looking at, those are from whenever we logged into the backup file server from Phil's computer. When we logged into the backup server from Sally's computer, if you followed along and did everything exactly like I did, and if everything's working for you, then you're not going to see anything there, because there is a virtual private network tunnel. There's a specific tunnel that's going from one location to another location. If you're not at one of those locations, you, in theory, should not be able to see any of the traffic going from one to the other. It just goes straight through. There's a lot more involved there that we're not going to get into. This is just a basics lesson in VPN tunnel configuring. So let's see if we got everything done. There's only 2 things here to do. Oh wait, there's a question we have to answer here. Are there any FTP messages sourced from the IP address of Sally's computer? Should have read that one earlier here. So what we want to look for here is if any of these have Sally's IP address on it. See right here, the source address, and they don't. They have Phil. Those are Phil's IP addresses there. So answer to that is no, and because we have configured a virtual tunnel going from one connection to another. Put those in your own words. Make sure you explain it. No. Now, I, as an instructor, would take that as an answer. That's pretty basic. Feel free to get as detailed as you want to get, but that's basically the gist of it right there. There's no messages being shown because we set up a VPN tunnel. And let's hit our button and see how we did, guys. Congratulations, you successfully completed the packet tracer. Blah 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 blah. We're doing good. Make sure you save that packet PKA file. Make sure you save it here and upload it to the modules section so that you get credit for this. I have noticed that people that are not in my class are watching this video as well. So thank you guys for watching these. Feel free to send me any questions if you have any. and I will try to answer them down in the doobly-doo in the YouTube comments there. For those people in my class, make sure you're saving both the PDF file and the PKA file. Make sure you're turning both of those into the Canvas module section to get credit. And I will see you in the next video. Or I won't. But if you don't watch any more than this, then thanks for watching this one. Have a good day.